Hi folks, this is Dragon. This is a video on a little bit of bush navigation. What we've got in front of us here is, to the left is a, what used to be called a prismatic compass. This is going back to my military days. It's called by a different name today, but it's the same compass. And to the right of that is a GPS. Now, a lot of people head off into the bush, hikers and campers and that sort of thing, and they may carry this equipment with them. Some of the problems that I've experienced and seen in the bush is that sometimes this equipment gets lost if it's not secured properly, or it gets damaged if someone takes a tumble, or in some cases people don't take any of this gear at all, just relying on tracks and that sort of thing. But when they become disorientated or have to deviate off their route, they can find themselves in all sorts of trouble because they've got no idea what direction they're heading in or what they should be heading in. So there's a very simple method. It's crude, but it gives someone who's lost in the bush a general direction to go to, or along their route, rather than just wandering aimlessly around through the bush. In documented cases, people lost in the bush who tend to walk a long way, sometimes walk in circles, which makes it hard for other people to find them in rescue situations. And certainly for survivalists, it's another means of crude navigation should these devices in front of you fail or get broken for some reason. Okay, I'll just turn this GPS over because the sun tends to destroy the displays on them. There we go. Alright. What we have here, and this is a skill I learnt many years ago, and I did a dry run on it yesterday just to clean the barnacles and the cobwebs off it. It's basically using the stick shadowed method. Okay, that stick is approximately 3 feet long. Just hit it a bit into the ground so it stands up straight. It's approximately midday local time, and if we just zoom in a bit, you can see the shadow cast by that upright stick. Alright, now here in Australia we're officially heading into autumn, so the sun is moving towards the northerly aspect, still traversing across the sky from east to west. So we've still got a bit of a shadow there about midday. Now the trick is, you've got to have days of sunlight, at least enough sunlight to cast a shadow off this main stick here. You can get overcast days as long as it's can throw a visible shadow onto the ground. Now if I just zoom in a bit, that's the shadow cast by the stick. Alright, so what we do is, just bear with me. I've got a stick here in front of me, so what I do is put that in the ground right at the very tip of the shadow. Just like that. Now as the sun transverses across the sky, the east is to the right of camera and the west is to the left of camera. That shadow will move to the right. Now there's lots of information on the net, YouTube and all that sort of social media on how to use this method. What I found is that it does take considerable time. The dry run I did yesterday took about an hour to get the desired results. Some say 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll do a time lapse on this to show you what happens at around about 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll go on from there. Interestingly enough, a lot of people these days, you ask them where's the sunrise and they point off in whatever direction the sun rises, and then you ask them what point of the compass that is and they've got no idea. So this method here, the idea of it is to give an indication of true north, and from that you can work out the four primary or cardinal points of the compass to give you a better direction of which way to go, rather than just wandering around aimlessly in the bush. So we'll come back in about 15 minutes, see how much that shadow has moved to the right of camera, and we'll continue on from there. Okay folks, just dragging it back again. Now it's about 20 minutes. Sorry I got delayed, damn phone rang. It's one thing I won't miss if ever it goes down the toilet. Okay, 20-minute period. I'm just going to zoom in on here. That stick I put in the ground about 20 minutes ago represents your first marker. Now as you can see, the shadow of the larger vertical stick has moved to the right, and in fact it's only moved about 6 inches in 20 minutes or so. So the dry run I did yesterday, for the best results, I left it for about an hour, and I'll go on to that later on, so I'll be back in probably about another half hour, and we'll see how far that shadow of the larger vertical stick has moved, how far it's moved to the right. Okay, back soon. Okay folks, I was dragging back again about after an hour after we put the first marker down. That's that little stick there. Okay, that was our first marker. Now remember that, that's the first marker. As you can see, the shadow has moved further to the east, the right of camera, and it has become longer. So the next step, and I've left the compass there for a reason I'll explain later, is to put the second marker down right on the very tip of the shadow, which is formed an hour later after putting your first marker down. Okay, you can use sticks or rocks, whatever you like. Okay, that basically gives you your east-west line. Okay, that's two of the primary or cardinal points of your compass. Now, remembering this method is to give you a general idea of true north. And from that, we've already got two of the cardinal points, east and west. So now we've got to find north, and we can then find south. There's a couple of ways you can do this. One way is to place a stick at roughly right angles in the middle of the line between the two markers, like that. That gives you an indication of true north. Okay, now remember, this is only a very rough idea, but it gives you some reference to direction, which is better than no direction at all. The other way, I'll just remove the stick. Alright, remember I mentioned, don't forget the first marker. Alright, first marker, put your left foot, tip of your boot, right on the marker. Your right foot on the right marker. Look straight ahead, and that gives you an indication of true north. So there you have 3 cardinal points of the compass. Now if you do 180 degree turn, I'll see if I can get this on camera. It's reversed. Right foot on the first marker, left foot in the shadow on the second marker. You've then got a rough idea of true south. Alright, now to prove a point, I used a compass. Okay, settle down. We know all a compass proves magnetic north. And this is where a GPS comes in handy. Sometimes it's not my primary instrument of navigation. However, what I did today, and again yesterday, was I got the up-to-date magnetic variation from true north. In this area, it's about 11 degrees or 193 mils. So what I did was I offset the compass so you can see there, compass needle is pointing magnetic north. The long arrow, yellow arrow to the left, or the line marker, because I offset it according to the magnetic variation, is pointing roughly true north. Okay, that's just to verify this video. As I said, this is only an indication of the rough direction of true north. Now, I'll touch a bit on magnetic variation with compasses. They do vary from place to place. Even here in Australia, it doesn't matter where you are. A couple of 100 miles away, the magnetic variation is slightly different. And you can look it up on the internet. You can actually pull charts up of your own country or your own district, and it'll give you up-to-date information on magnetic variation, whether it's in degrees or mils. I prefer to work in mils. Gives a far more accurate compass bearing, and it's an old trick I can't throw from my military days. That's what we used to use to navigate by mils. The other thing is the magnetic variation here is to the east, or what they call a positive variation. And in some parts of the world, the magnetic variation may be to the west of true north, which is what they call a negative variation. And in fact, in Australia here, it does happen. Around about the Kalgoorlie area in Western Australia, there's not a whole lot of difference between true north and magnetic north. That's according to the latest information I found from about 2 years ago. And in fact, Perth is about magnetic variation is about 1 degree to the west of true north. So those are the things that you need to consider, folks, when using a compass. It's another topic, I know. The primary topic of this video was to find true north using natural stuff from the bush, need a couple of hours of sunlight. You can do this any time of day as long as you've got sunlight, clear ground, no shadowing effect from trees or any other thing, and that'll give you an indication of where true north is. You've already got your east-west line, and of course then from that you can calculate or work out where south is. So that's about it, folks. It's fairly simple. I haven't used it for many years. As I said yesterday, I had to do a dry run to clean the barnacles and the cobwebs off it. It's a skill in the bush. I would rate it in the top 10. To know how to navigate through the bush if you don't have modern navigation instruments such as a compass or a GPS, or they get lost or damaged or something like that. The point is, it stops you from wandering around the circle. It gives you a point of reference to walk to, or you might know there's a creek or a road or a railway line off to the west. Well, then you've got a rough idea using this method which direction to go to find it. Alright folks, fairly simple. As I said, I think in a post, it's not accurate down to the last degree or mil, but it gives you a general idea, which is better than no idea at all. And as I said before, there are a lot of people out there, and it's an observation, not a criticism. They know where the sun rises and sets, but they don't know what points of the compass they are, such as the way things are these days. This method can also be used in urban areas as an emergency navigation method. Certainly good for homesteading or out there in the bush, retreat, whether you're out on hunting parties or whatever the case may be. If you haven't got the modern instruments, or you've lost them, or they're damaged beyond use, this will give you a rough idea. Thanks very much for watching, folks.